Bonjour à tous. Good morning, everyone. Buenos días a todos. Dear participants, on behalf of the experts in international trade at the Chamber of Commerce of Metropolitan Montreal, we welcome you to our Business in Tandem Montreal, Barcelona. I would like to thank the Economic Development Agency of Canada for the regions of Quebec for its ongoing support of World Trade Center Montreal's activities, who made this webinar possible, and also our partnership with the City of Montreal, our association with Cambra de Comerç de Barcelona, and Catalonia Trade and Investment Office in Montreal. My name is Camille Crozier, and I'm Project Manager for International Market Development at the Chamber of Commerce of Metropolitan Montreal. For information, our international panelists will speak English during the presentation. I will co-moderate this webinar in English. Pour votre information, nos invités internationaux utiliseront l'anglais lors de leur présentation. Toutefois, si vous avez des questions en français, il me fera un plaisir d'y répondre. Please take a moment to look at the platform. If you have any questions, we will address them in the optional Q&A session that you have in your Pair Connect agenda. If you would like to watch this webinar again, we'll make the recording available on the Chamber of Commerce of Metropolitan Montreal website, as well as our YouTube page. I have the honor to introduce my co-host today, Mr. Marin Oriol, Internationalization Head Area at the Barcelona Chamber of Commerce. Marin, you now have the floor.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Camille. Bon dia a tothom, bonjour. Good morning, everyone. As a Director of the Internationalization Area of the Barcelona Chamber of Commerce, it is a pleasure to welcome all the participants and attendees of this event today. In the framework of the 25th anniversary of the institutional relationship between Catalonia and Quebec, we are very pleased to collaborate on interconnecting two main sectors, such as the e-health and sports techs, which will be increasingly important in our economies in the years to come. Connecting our business culture in both Catalonia and Quebec will allow us to keep ahead in these innovative fields. It is because of that I would like to thank the Chamber of Commerce of City of Montreal, the Catalonia government, the Barcelona City Hall, as well all the top tiers experts that we have gathered for you today, that will share their interesting ideas and insights, of course. Then, without further ado, I would like to introduce to you Mr. Pau Solanilla, Commissioner for the City Promotion in the Ajuntament of Barcelona, the City Hall of Barcelona. Mr. Solanilla works on the international promotion of Barcelona to attract new investments, new fairs and congresses, major events, and international talent. His goal, shared in the Barcelona Chamber of Commerce, is to position the Barcelona brand and consolidate the city as a global capital. So the floor is yours, Mr. Solanilla.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good morning in Canada, Quebec, in Montreal, and good afternoon in Barcelona, Catalonia. Thank you very much, Martin and Camille. Thank you to the Chamber of Commerce of Barcelona and the Chamber of Commerce of Metropolitan of Montreal for the invitation. Je voudrais dire quelques mots en français aussi. Tous nos amis de Montréal, de Québec, notre amitié de Barcelone. Et même si on parle en anglais, on aime bien votre langue, la langue française, la francophonie. So, I would take only a couple of minutes, but maybe to share with you why it's important for us, this activity, this event. Catalonia and Quebec has a long tradition. We are in the 25th anniversary, but also Barcelona and Montreal, we have a very strong links, and we share a number of important values for today's world. Not only because we are both Olympic cities, but is already to belong to the Olympic club is something very important, but we share the values and the vision of the world. Both cities, we are on both metropolitan areas, we are an open, international, diverse, innovative competitive cities. So we share a little bit this vision of an open world, no? And our cities, our capitals are not maybe the biggest in one of the biggest capitals in the world, but both of us, we are what we call new global cities, and we project ourselves into the world. And in today's world, where some people are trying to come back to the closed world, I think that Montreal and Barcelona project the best of the open and fair world. And I think it's very important that we work together. Also, it's very important because in these days, we are recovering the direct flights, both to Montreal and Toronto from Barcelona. We are recovering from pandemics. And I think that the direct connectivity between both cities also helps promote not only business, but human-to-human contact. So it's also very important to be very well connected physically and to be very well connected emotionally. And if we are connected both physically and emotionally, and we share the values and the vision of the world, we might merge common opportunities, win-win opportunities for both of us. Today, we're talking about the e-health sector or the sports tech sector, two areas where I think Barcelona and Montreal we can identify clear opportunities, both because we have a very dynamic entrepreneurial sectors. You have a very powerful and dynamic and creative tech sectors in these both areas. Barcelona is also quite strong in both of them. And I think we should identify common lines of cooperation. And in that sense, I would like to mention only two to finish my introduction. I think we can take advantage that Barcelona is an important VO region, and Catalonia is an important VO region. And Barcelona, we are a life science city with many research centers, startups, scale-ups, and research and development ecosystem to host some of the organizations and companies and startups from Canada and from Montreal and Quebec that would like to come to Barcelona to open the European market. So we are a very good platform to open in the European market. And in the sports sector, Barcelona is obviously a sports city, a very well-known sports city in the world. But also I ask your attention for the new reality of e-sports and e-games, what we call e-sports. Barcelona is positioning very strong in this area. Our what we call creative industries are already the 14% of our GDP of the city are the creative industries, and e-games, e-sports are one of these of sectors that is going very well. It's taking off in a very powerful way. So here again, there are some opportunities. So everything is to be done. Everything is possible. Let's take advantage of the common vision. Let's take advantage of the sympathy that we have, the cities from both sides. In businesses, schemes, feelings, emotions are very important. I think that Barcelona and Montreal, we like each other. So let's take the opportunity to go further, to organize some more activities and to do business together and make a contribution and have impact in the world. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Solania. So let me now introduce Mrs. Valérie Poulain, Director, Economic Intelligence and International Outreach and Director of International Relations for the City of Montreal. As the Director of Economic Intelligence and International Outreach, she's responsible for the economic analysis, the collaboration with higher education institutions regarding research and innovation strategies, as well as for the international economic outreach of the city. Valérie, you now have the floor.
Merci Camille. Bonjour à tous et à toutes. Good morning, everyone. Buenos dias. I'm really pleased to be with you today for this new edition of Business in Tandem and event series, which is a joint initiative with our partner Chamber of Commerce of Metropolitan Montreal, the Barcelona Chamber of Commerce, and the Catalonia Trade and Investment Office in Montreal, with whom we've established very good relationship that will, I hope, result in more joint project in the future. And your words have some echo here, Pau. Thank you. The City of Montreal plan, the Business in Tandem initiative that began when we began to see the pandemic and the pandemic-related constraint that put our companies under major challenges when trying to conduct international business development activities, And still today, we do believe that Business in Tandem platform offers great opportunity to create links between companies for both cities, and that we could explore business opportunity and discuss joint project, especially with you, Barcelona. And we hope we have some more of these events together and some more project and business opportunities together, of course. Barcelona and Montreal have established close and friendly relations, culturally, yes, and economically. And both cities act as the economic center of their respective region. They're both creative and vibrant, and they share the strength of their identities and openness to the world. I feel that I repeat what you said, Paul, but actually we do agree. Let us also highlight the fact that Montreal and Barcelona are both part of the UNESCO Creative City Network. This particular edition of Business in Tandem will focus on two sectors that have business development potential for both our city, it's been told, esports and e-health, and how companies of these two sectors can create business opportunities and initiate fruitful collaboration projects. We've brought together key players today in those two sectors who will introduce you to their ecosystem and present business and collaboration opportunities, once again for both cities. And you'll see you are in very good hands. Finally, I'd like to thank the panelists for both our cities who've made this activity possible, of course. I wish you all a very pleasant and productive event, and I will invite you to connect with other companies through the platform and to attend the networking session at the end of the presentation. Merci beaucoup. Thank you, everybody, and enjoy your event.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you, Mrs. Valérie Poulin. So let's now have an overview of the sport tech e-health industry in Montreal. So I have the honor to introduce Mr. Jean-Philippe Gagnon, Business Development Director at Innovitech. So briefly, Mr. Gagnon graduated in entrepreneurship from HEC in the fall of 2011 and joined the Innovitech team in early 2012. Since 1989, Innovitech is a private firm based in Montreal that provides coaching, consulting, and innovation management services to technology entrepreneurs. In 2017, with the conviction that sport is a laboratory for health, Jean-Philippe launched a new division within the firm, Athletec. The vision of this intra-company was to make Quebec a hub for new technologies for athletes from the podium to the patient, both for elite athletes and for seniors. So Jean-Philippe, you now have the floor.
Merci beaucoup, Camille. Bonjour tout le monde. Very happy to be here with you this morning. I think this is an exciting opportunity, and my goal today is to tell or to share with you a bit of our experience in these two vibrant markets, the sports tech world and the e-health or med tech world. I prepared a short PowerPoint presentation to kind of synthesize and organize our ideas. Just maybe before we jump in, want to kind of a disclaimer. This is not a investment pitch or in any way. Our goal is really here to kind of give you more details about what we've seen in the past 5 to 10 years and try to find out collaborations between our two incredible cities. So as Camille mentioned, my name is Jean-Philippe. I'm the Director of Business Development at Innovitech. Who are we at Innovitech? We are a 30+ year technology innovation expert private firm. And our goal is to help tech entrepreneurs achieve their ambitions. And we've developed cutting edge expertise in key areas that make Montreal kind of on the economical development, make Montreal stand out. So we are very active in the aerospace and green aviation or green transportation sectors, health and technologies, artificial intelligence, and everything that has to touch, I would say, cold hard assets. So real estate and how cities can become more and more resilient. And we do that with our clients with three major offerings. So we'd like to start with coaching getting to know our clients. That can be, yes, tech entrepreneurs that are just out of the university incubator, but we can also help executives in major private organizations. And we do that also with public entities, university, development corporations in cities or governments. After doing coaching, we do consulting. So we help our clients figure out different opportunities, if it's opportunity studies, business plans, innovation plans, strategic planning. And if our clients do not have the capabilities internally, we can manage for them the projects that we've built. So over the past 30 plus years, we've kind of, went full circle with projects where we started out with the strategy definition. We created clusters, we created different organizations, and some of them we've managed for more than 10 to 15 years. And I would say that the main subject or the common theme through these different projects has always been innovation, both as a driver of economic, but also social development. So enough about kind of the back end and who we are. Let's deep dive into our subject today. I tried to find kind of images but the key word for me would be passion. I think we are two international cities that are known for their creativity, their design, but mainly for their people. I put some pictures here that represent a lot of, on the sports side, things that came to heart and came to mind. Unfortunately, our team hasn't won since more than 25 years. So I know that you guys have had quite a crazy run in especially at the beginning of 2010s or that period. And I have massive respect for La Masia, which is a talent pipeline renowned internationally. So here we call our hockey club La Sainte Flanelle because it's kind of almost religious. And I know that for you guys, it is also, Barca FC Barca has a cultural meaning that is very important. So we're going to talk about sports tech and e-health. I remember when I first spoke with the city of Montreal and with Camille's team at the Chamber of Commerce. I was kind of, I had my doubts on how these two subjects could work together. I think they are quite different, as you will see in my following slides, but I think that there's a major opportunity that's at hand here. But first of all, let's look at why this event it kind of fits a perfect timing. So why now? Well, as you know, our lives have changed since the past 2-3 years. We have a global pandemic that has created and generated an explosion of needs. Many of the things that were kind of emergent at that time became under the microscope and became very much at the forefront of our lives, of how the world works. We've become sedentary. We've spent too much time at home, adopting habits that were the enemy 3 years ago, because sedentarity is linked to multiple of the elements that generate long-term bad health. We've adopted at the same time technology, testing at home technologies that now have definitely completely reversed how we thought of our hospital systems. Believe it or not, there were lines outside of pharmacies here last Christmas that went for 2-3 hours to get our hands on these at-home tests. So my guess is that in the future, the hospital will be much less used, and that is a great situation. At the same time, the true pandemic is not COVID. It is everything that is hidden beneath the numbers that we see in the media. This was a segment of 60 Minutes that was presented last Sunday. A crisis of how depression and anxiety is now rampant throughout our system. And that was here. The last article is an article that hit me last January, because here now we came back to the office, and this is an article that says that about 65% of Quebecers have issues or have anxiety related to their physical attributes linked to 2 years of being at home and being away from the office and being away from social contact. So choose your pick. The challenges that we have in movement and in health and in public health are huge. So when we're talking about entrepreneurship and we're talking about economic development, we need to focus on these challenges, because they won't be just like a trimester challenge. They will be probably a decade challenge. So if we link that to our two sectors, at Innovitech, we've been very active in both. So I wanted to start off by telling you what we did first in the sports tech world. So our expertise relates to launching a new division that I personally launched and managed starting in 2016, where we did the hard work on the business plan, and then we launched in 2017. Our goal and our ambition was to de-risk and bring to the market human performance solutions. Our slogan was innovation from the podium to the patient. We were basically our service offering was a link of three things. So we were, first of all, we had market intelligence that we were sharing, that we were consulting on. We proposed connections between different members or different type of organizations that I'll present shortly. And we organized at least once per semester, if not more, VIP events where these organizations could connect and could generate new opportunities. We were motivated by entrepreneurs and by technologies that were kind of below the radar or under the radar in Montreal, and we're looking for a cluster or we're looking for a market to reach the next level of their business plan. A couple of examples: Exoskin was a company, and it is a company that developed a smart vest that was first designed for elite sports, and now they have completely pivoted and they are much more in the healthcare sector, and they are kind of the mentors of this field. They've been here for a bit more than 10, close to 15 years. Now they are the preferred partner for the Canadian and even American space program. Our astronaut that was in the space station for more than 6 months did multiple research projects with them. And Exoskin is very well positioned now for the mission towards Mars, because the biggest hurdle that we have through that project is the health of our astronauts in space. SportLogic is the darling in advanced statistics. I believe they have close to a monopoly in the NHL, in the hockey league in North America. If not, they have 30 of the 32 teams and all of the major broadcasting teams. And now they're adding football and so American football and soccer to their sports. And the small company here called PlayFit, that is all about gamifying a small movement, a daily movement, and a company that is just finished an important financial round. So a bit of a deep dive then in the network that we kind of activated and that was very active starting in 2014. if we look at the different groups that are placed in the technology maturity level, first at the idea phase, obviously, we have a lot of incubators that are linked to university, and a lot of students have a passion for sports. So a lot of energy here. We helped to launch a sports hub I call it a hub at the local Francophone business school. And they have an ambition to launch an incubator tailored for this field. INSQ, which is today represented by François Buzen, who is their technology innovation guru. INS trains in Quebec all of the Olympic teams, going from judo to diving, and also multiple para sports teams. They have an incredible facility, and the ideas that are generated from these sports teams that need help on performance and prevention are very interesting. And we had ties with Le Tremplin in Paris, which is one of the most successful incubators in sports throughout the planet. Then on the validation side, we have both research centers, the CRETAC, which is one of the best kept secrets in our ecosystem, that is linked to the National Circus School, which is located in front of the head offices of the Cirque du Soleil. Today, Patrice Aubertin and Jean-Philippe Duguerry should be on the call with us this morning, and they literally do magic there. Tactics, which is an incredible strategic design firm. Martin and Bastien should also be with us this morning. And Tactics is behind all of the incredible product design and strategy of multiple startups that are making it big here in the city. And then there are multiple major organizations that take the stance of saying, we won't be your end consumer, but we're ready to adopt and we're ready to do pilot projects to validate your the technology value proposition. So it goes from Ubisoft to our American football team, our soccer club, the Olympic Park, Le Défi Sportif Altergo, which is the biggest multi-sport event in Canada for the past next year for 40 years. The Canadian Army, and Numalogix, who is a partner of Tactics, that does incredible work on virtual mannequins, so that can prevent or accelerate the testing of musculoskeletal value propositions. And finally, on the commercialization phase, where this is, as you will see later, where we may have some bigger challenges than you have in Barcelona, but we have especially insurance companies and other big industrial groups that are looking for emergent technologies and growing startups. So our end game at Athlete was to create a hub in Montreal between startups, investors, industry leaders, and tech experts to put Montreal on the map regarding human performance or the sports tech world. And as you'll see shortly, we didn't quite make it, but I think that this will happen. It's just a question of time. And we are still very much interested in continuing to push this end game. So now if we pivot to e-health or medtech, well, what I can tell you there is that it's another paradigm. The maturity of this field is incredible. Mainly for the past 2 years, the healthcare sector here has collapsed. So medtech now has less and less of these hurdles so that the public and private sector in e-health or in medtech can adopt these technologies. The project we're involved in here is MedTech Plus. MedTech Plus was created 10 years ago in Quebec to finance collaborative research projects. So at first, there were these grants for R&D, and 10 years later, now MedTech has a pan-Canadian footprint. It has a membership of 200 plus organizations, mainly industry-led, because this organization, which is a non-for-profit, is driven by the industry. And they have an innovation continuum that goes from starting with a coaching platform or coaching program, where we support 20 companies across Canada per year. Then there are these non-dilutive R&D grants. We've built a pan-Canadian network of adoption sites, real-life adoption sites that can do pilot projects. And kind of the pearl in the necklace is an investment fund through which now we have a portfolio of more than 20 startups where we invested both in loans or directly in equity. So I don't want to give too much of an analysis of the medtech world in Canada, because the growth is like this. It's a hockey stick. But I think medtech gives you a good perspective of how that works, and gives you a good idea of how in Montreal there is not only momentum, but there is a dynamism, and there's this field is growing monthly, and it is just the start. And we believe that the medtech field will be the sector that would put Montreal even more on the map, like it did in video games and aerospace in the past years. So what have we learned from these two projects, from our new division in human performance that was called Athlete, and from managing medtech since its inception? First of all, there are still many challenges and hypotheses in the sports tech world. The business model in sports has been, according to my experience, has been devastated by the pandemic. It's very hard when you sell tickets when nobody can get out of the house to have a striving and durable business model. I have difficulty understanding how sports teams can continue just selling tickets, and I'll get back to that. There is a low professionalism in the sense that a lot of the governance and of the management that has been managing these organizations in the past have been volunteers or athletes, and there needs to be an influx of professional talents that come from other sectors that can come and inspire new best practices and new business models. At the same time, there is a culture change. You've seen across the world, there's been with the Me Too movement, there's been this wind of change that I think will be for not only for the best in the short run, but for the long run. But it is still a very fragmented industry. When you talk to the soccer people, it is very difficult to transfer that to the hockey people or to the Olympic boards. These are all small pockets, very difficult to assess. They are very busy. They're always on the road, in competitions. Those are part of the dynamics that unfortunately didn't help in anchoring our division and really organizing a lot of the network here in Montreal and in Quebec. On the other side, in the e-health or in the medtech field, well, as I mentioned, with the pandemic and the collapse of the healthcare system, now doctors and the government and on the private sector, there's so much interest and demand for technology that it's the definition of a market pull. So this is a mature, healthy, and striving industry, especially in Montreal. This is a picture of the new francophone teaching hospital, which is the CHUM. It is both a hospital and a research center. We've invested collectively close to $8 billion in these brand new infrastructures, and this entire neighborhood will transform itself in the next 5 years. Allied Properties, which is one of our clients, has bought La Gare Vigée, which is a historical building, and has partnered with the CHUM to create a smart neighborhood tailored for healthcare and virtual reality and AI and public health. So this is a much more sophisticated sector across the board, both in investments from across the field and through the innovation value chain from the idea to the market. There's a quality of deal flow of startups from coast to coast in Canada, and Montreal has become an incontournable as a hub, and there's a lowered barriers to entry. That being said, I'm still very bullish and still very positive and optimistic in regards to the sports world and what is the opportunity for them. The Montreal people that I've invited to this event will recognize my next slide, but the opportunity that I see for the sports world is to go beyond sports. I think sports is has an incredible edge as a universal language. I think that athletes can be unique ambassadors to transfer and to pivot a message through different other market segments. I see 3 following market segments from the pure sports tech world. The industrial athletes, so people that work with their body, on a daily basis, construction site workers, civil security, first responders, the army, et cetera, et cetera. So for these groups, athletes are kind of, they have the image of warriors, healers, and teachers. For the general public, now I think people understand more than ever that they need to internalize their health and not depend on the public health sector or even on a private doctor, especially on adopting healthy habits. And then the age tech or the silver economy is we're preparing a major project there with the federal government that should be announced anytime now. The silver economy is a huge opportunity. And again, the narrative of sports of saying you're not sick, but you are an athlete if you move on a daily basis and you have to perform, is performing, building a new house, or being a firefighter, or is performing, taking care of your grandkids and keeping your quality of life. I think this is the pure play strategy, and sports can be an integrative force there across these sectors, and both to bridge the physical and virtual assets. I think that how we see sports infrastructure today is limiting. I think that sports infrastructure can be much more connected to virtual assets. So I'm not even talking about the metaverse here. So basically, what I'm saying is it's not sports tech versus e-health. I think it's a continuum. I think that there's so much work to do on the medtech side that there are low-hanging fruits opportunities for the sports tech world to step up and to completely transform their business model and also their footprint. And I think that there's a continuum of movement and of health to build between these two sectors. And I think that if the sports world doesn't want to do that, unfortunately, it will be the e-health world or the medtech world that will then go lower, if we can use that sense of the intensity of the technology. They will open these new markets. So maybe as a closing remark, what are we looking for in discussions with between us this morning through these two projects that we're involved in? We're looking for market pool opportunities. We're looking to meet big industrial actors that are interested in innovation, that would like to come in and scout and participate in different opportunities here in Montreal. We're also looking to map out what are the needs of these big organizations, and we want to understand what is your roadmap in Barcelona and what are you looking at in the next 3 to 5 years as market opportunities. We're looking for sophisticated investors. With Athlete, we're slowly pivoting towards more of a angel investing approach, where we mentor and where we help. We're much more implicated with helping directly the startups and the entrepreneurs. So we're always looking to syndicate and to build syndicates with sophisticated investors. We're looking for an international network. As you probably know, in Barcelona, Barcelona is not enough of a market. Well, it's exactly the same thing here in Montreal. Montreal will never be the end game market for any of these sectors, for sports tech or for med tech. The destiny of these companies that are involved in those fields here is to export, yes, to the US, which is always kind of the top of mind example, but it's also Europe and Asia. And finally, we're looking for partners to work in impactful projects. I think that we've built deep expertise in these two fields, and we have at least a 10-year horizon. It took us 10 years to get here in the medtech world, and to invest in 100 collaborative projects. And I think it will take at least another 10 years to be able to have successful liquidity events for many of the startups that we're helping. And if it's been 5 years in the sports tech world, well, maybe we're just halfway there. So we need to be resilient and perseverant. And maybe if I could, on my final words is, I think it's still about a passion, and the fire is still very much alive. And what we're looking for is to win, and winning for us is for sure is winning championships. But I think winning now is also having a striving community where we can not only move on from the pandemic, but we can look back at it in a few years and say, we've driven innovation, and we've defined solutions that are used by many other communities in the world. And to do that, we need to work together. And I think that the Montreal and Barcelona collaboration is a no-brainer. So there you go. Looking forward for questions or comments. I had fun building this deck. The people that I mentioned that are also there on the call are amazing people. I maybe forgot to speak about Patrick Boivin. Patrick is a partner since the beginning of what we built in sports tech. He was a major contributor and a partner in launching our initiative. First of all, at University of Concordia, where he was the athletics director, but then when he was CEO of the Alouettes. And now Patrick is an investor and an expert that is helping different of the startups that we have in the community here. And he's a unique talent, a rare talent, like Bastien Martin from Tactics, François Buzen from INS Quebec, and Jean-Philippe and Patrice from the CRETAC and from the Circus School. So hope you had the opportunity to connect with them, and looking forward to connect with you also. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much. If you call to stop sharing, please.
Yeah, I'm trying to do that. Okay, I got it.
Okay, so thank you very much for your deep insights, Mr. Gagnon. So it has been a great view of the e-health industries and the sport tech industries in Montreal. Now we will have I have the pleasure to introduce Mr. Cristian Pascual, founder and president of Barcelona Health Hub, a non-profit private organization created to promote innovation in digital health and its transfer to the health sector, linking startups, health organizations, companies, and investors. He's also an angel investor in more than 20 startups and has over 20 years of experience in management. He's the co-founder of Medictor, the most accurate artificial intelligence-based medical assistance for trials and pre-diagnose, validated with over 90% accuracy. So, Mr. Pascual, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Marin. Thank you very much. I'm really glad to be here today with you, connecting these two amazing cities, and especially talking about two sectors that I like very much. I'm FC Barcelona supporter, of course, but that does not bring me here. Also, I'm the CEO and co-founder of Medictor, which is a personal assistant, a medical personal assistant to guide you through your symptoms and direct to the most suitable service. So in fact, we substitute Dr. Google, but this doesn't bring me here also. I'm here to talk to you about innovation in healthcare through software, talking about eHealth. But before dipping into that, I would like to talk a little bit on what we see that is happening in healthcare. So I think that today we have the perfect storm. We have a raising healthcare demand. We have a worldwide aging population, an increase of chronic patients. And not only this, our health expectations are also increasing. We want to play tennis at 70, at 80. So we demand more on healthcare. Also, we have a growing population everywhere. And in this growing demand, it's crossing with a lack of physicians and nurses, a lack of professionals. And that's a problem that we see worldwide. Over this, and of course, pandemic hasn't helped, we see a healthcare costs are growing over GDP in almost all countries of the world. So this is a perfect storm. And this is a problem that we need to face. And we see one only tool that can help us ease this in the short term, which is the technology. And we are not talking about substituting doctors. We are talking about doctors using tools to make their work more efficient. And these will drive in a more sustainable, scalable, and inclusive healthcare. When I talk about these technologies, I always say that artificial intelligence and telemedicine are the two technologies that will impact more broadly in all kinds of healthcare delivery. So, well, this is what is happening, and we see it not only the problems and the startups that are raising, but also the money that it's coming. Here, I'm sharing the investment that it's been put in digital health globally. And as you see, this number is raising really fast these days. So I think that the money have seen this evidence that all these startups evolving healthcare with technology can ease most of the pain points that we have today. In this situation that we have worldwide, we are playing also our game in Barcelona. So Barcelona Health Hub is a non-profit organization with the willingness to promote innovation in health, linking all the key corporations in the ecosystem, startups, the investors, all the corporations, pharma and health industry, and investors. So putting all this community together to work in this amazing location, which is Sant Pau Modernist venue, which is the old hospital, 100 years old, UNESCO heritage place, totally renewed as offices, and now the home of the healthcare of the future. We are now in 3 pavilions here. There are more than 40 companies that are working here like we do. We are really happy to work here. It's an amazing location. And here, as I said before, we try to put together all this ecosystem. We started Barcelona Health Hub with only 6 startups back in 2018, but now we are more than 350 organizations. Most of them startups. They are the key element on the ecosystem. They are doing the innovation. Also corporation, of course, the pharma and the health insurance companies, but also health institutions, hospitals, clinical research centers play a key role, and finally investors. So we try to put all these communities together. And we have really a unique advantage, which is in walking distance from our office, we have one of the main hospitals in Barcelona, which is San Pau Hospital. Not only this, we have a bio-research center, the University of Physicians and Nurses, and all these in walking distance. So it's a perfect ecosystem so we can work and create healthcare of the future. So we not only want to be the best place to be, if you want to innovate in digital health, of course, you can come and rent an office in our place, but also a networking engine. We tried not only to network with all the members of the ecosystem locally, but abroad. And it's about connecting. And I think that for any startup or corporation that is interested in embracing corporations, to know what the startups in the ecosystem is doing, that they can embed into their corporations, we can shortlist all kinds of technologies that can do a good job for doing a better healthcare. But not only these, to bring Montreal startups that want to land a feet in Europe or in Latin-speaking countries to be part of Barcelona Health Hub. It's a great idea. We do all kinds of events, and we communicate a lot what is happening in the community. And we also act as a stakeholder with, let's say, the government entities to try to change things to make the adoption of technology more easy in healthcare. So, well, that is happening already, but we also have some plans for the future. A key point on the innovation in healthcare through technology is how we transfer this technology to the practice in medicine. That's a journey that it's really not easy to happen. And of course, the clinical validation of all the innovation in these startups is a key thing that we are working to ease. So we are working with hospitals to make much more easier to any startup in the world to get the clinical evidence that they need to then go to market. So I think we can talk about startups that want to have this challenge to how we can help to ease it. Also, we work in the field of making digital health knowledge and bringing reports or all kinds of information that helps all the ecosystem to understand what's happening. We will also incubate startups in the near future to help them grow. And of course, we look to connect globally. So again, I think this is a good opportunity to call for all corporations in Montreal that want to know more about innovation in healthcare and know startups that could potentially collaborate with them. Happy to connect, and also startups that want to just land in Europe and have a gate to the Latin-speaking countries, because we are highly connected to all the Latin-speaking countries in South America, Central America, or even North America. Barcelona Health Hub is a great gateway. So, well, that's pretty much what I wanted to tell you today. Really glad to see that we are centering today the discussion in verticals, because typically about technology, we tend to talk about the technology itself, but what it matters really, it's the problem that we solve. And well, it's been a pleasure sharing this with you today. And please reach us out on contact@barcelonahealthhub.com if you want to know more. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pascual. We have learned a lot about the e-health sector in this Barcelona ecosystem. So now is the turn to learn about the sport tech sector in Barcelona. I have the honor to introduce Mr. Oriol Serra, cluster manager of Indescat, a Catalan sports cluster which represents more than 100 companies and organizations. With an overall turnover of near 2,400 million euros, Indescat offers services and products to the sports and physical activity market, merging sports and innovation. Thanks to Indescat, so Catalan companies and sports industry improve their competitiveness. So, Mr. Oriol Serra, the show is yours.
Good morning, good afternoon, bonjour. Thank you, Chamber of Commerce of Barcelona and Metropolitan Montreal for giving us the opportunity to speak about sports industry. Apologize that I cannot do my presentation in French, but well, we will do it in English. So first of all, let me share some slides. We are the Indescat, the Catalan sports cluster. We gather more than 100 organizations around sports, including companies, SMEs, startups, technological centers, universities. We are a non-profit organization. It's so strange because we help, as a non-profit organization, we help profit companies and organizations to improve their competitiveness. As Pau said, we are a sports city, we are a sports country, but not only, or not everything is only a Barça and the high performance teams involved in soccer or this kind of famous sports. Behind of sports, there are an important ecosystem, an important profit organizations, and this is what we are focused on nowadays. We have 6 strategic pillars. We apply our resources we try to carry out different actions around innovation, entrepreneurship, visibility, talent, internationalization, and networking. To give some examples, we not only carry out studies, reports, benchmarks, working groups, international trade missions, but also we develop different matchmaking sessions, training sessions, commercial missions, and help companies to experience this strategic change. And we also lead cooperative projects. Our industry is composed by 3 main value chains: events related to sport, all the facilities, venues, and the third value chain related to customer goods and services. All of them have their own sub-chains. We have represented their B2B companies, B2C companies, but with the current evolution of the pandemic, new value chains have been appeared, and nowadays we talk about also that we have an esports chain and a sports tourism chain. The impact of our industry could be explained as before we mentioned about it, but our impact is related to approximately 2% of the GDP. Depending on the source, sometimes it's difficult because our industry The sport concept, sometimes it's difficult to decide where are the limits, but we could use this 2% of the GDP. If we talk about Catalonia, we have a better quantification. Nowadays, we have approximately more than 1,300 companies, an important turnover around 6,500 million euros per year. A big percentage, well, approximately 33% of this percentage is represented in our cluster. And if we want to talk today about the sports tech ecosystem, let me show you that the sports tech concept is coming. There is a huge opportunity, but we are in the QE of a succession of different waves. Some of them nowadays are consolidated. For example, e-commerce, fintech, energy, logistics, health tech. Before we learned a lot about the amazing project of Christian Medictor and the hub, Barcelona Health Hub. So there are industries that are consolidated. They have their own scale-ups. They are mature. Sports techs are coming. We are growing double digit. We have examples of startups with their product market fit momentum. We have the first exits. We have some success cases, but we are in the QE. We have an amazing opportunity because all of these ecosystems have their own hub or their own umbrella regarding their brand to connect with the world, as we have seen with Health Hub and, for example, a famous case of the Tech Barcelona. And we are helping the City Hall of Barcelona to create and to boost this new Barcelona Sports Hub, where we will be, and we want to be involved in this project that will be the last step to be a consolidated market, not only in Catalonia, but also to connect it with all over the world. For example, the connection with Montreal. As an example, among our members, we can tell you that approximately at least 20% of our firms are sports tech firms. So this percentage is increasing. If we talk about the impact of the concept specifically around sports tech, we can tell you that Spain on 2020 was the 4th European country in number of sports tech startups. Last year, Spain had the 6th position in funding and the 3rd highest number of deals in 2022. So we are behind only the UK and German. On the other side, we don't have a lot of figures related to Barcelona, but the Sports Tech report, a famous sports tech in our industry, told us that Barcelona in 2020 was the 6th European capital related to amount of investments. So there are many new initiatives around this concept of hubs, labs around sports tech. But we can tell you that the 40% of the sports tech initiatives in Spain are located or are in Barcelona. So to finalize my exposition, let me tell you that nowadays we have a challenge. The industry and the sports tech should digitalize the market, should help companies, the industry, to make this strategic transformation. We should use the gamification, and also we should apply this new economical concept that is called shared value. We should put at the same level the economical impact, but also the environmental and social impact. We should use the technologies that nowadays are very interesting for a sports tech. For example, VR, AR, artificial intelligence, 5G, IoT, blockchain. So we have several examples where we have startups using this kind of technologies. And the areas of application will be in our sector focused on fan engagement, esports, wearables, active tourism, and energy efficiency, and obviously the traditional high performance and training for different ages or wellness. So as a cluster, we should capitalize and focus on these goals, increase the sports consumption, get a safer, healthier, and more sustainable sport, improve experience and adherence. We should have more population practicing sports. And obviously, there is an amazing challenges around the athletic endurance and performance that are the first one that are using technology and the last technologies, and afterwards we can apply it to the mass market, or in this concept that we call mainstream. So just to finalize, we have several examples of startups, of sports tech startups. Here we have some of them. Big data, for example, Sport Mass, wearables, for example, Ona Labs, Big C, an important training center of esports, different startups around sensors, for example, in this case, Swift, in profit, that will be a sort of project very, very similar than the projects that Jean-Philippe Janon shared before. And Skitut, an example of a company that started in the cluster as a startup and nowadays is established in the Norwegian stock market. So thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for let us talking about sports tech, and I'll be very happy to answer any query afterwards. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Serra. For all the questions, we have a Q&A, optional Q&A session after the event. So let's now move with the section overview of the business culture in both cities. I have the honor to introduce Mrs. Geneviève Abbott, Executive Director, Catalonia Trade and Investment Office in Montreal. So Geneviève Abbott holds a degree in history from Carleton University in Ottawa and an international MBA from the Schoolish School of Business at York University in Toronto. She complemented her training at ESADE in Barcelona. So for over 15 years now, Mrs. Abbott has helped hundreds of Catalan companies establish trade, technology, and investment relations with Canadian businesses in a variety of sectors, in addition to facilitating Canadian business interests in Catalonia. So Mrs. Abbott, you now have the floor.
Thank you, Camille. Let me just share my screen. Okay. Merci beaucoup. Hola. Hello, everyone. To facilitate, we'll do this presentation in English, but afterwards, I'm happy to answer questions in French, English, Spanish, and even Catalan. So you've decided that you want to do business in Montreal or in Barcelona. A few quick facts. There's a 6-hour time difference between the two. And a couple times a year, the time difference can be 5 or 7 hours because we don't change times at the same on the same dates. As it was mentioned before, Air Canada and Air Transat have direct flights from May to October, which is great. If there's no direct flight available, avoid transiting through the US. And instead, my favorites are Zurich or Amsterdam. Same, avoid going through Paris and London unless you're stopping by in those cities. For the Catalans in watching this presentation, Montreal can be very hot, 35 degrees, and very cold, -35. So dress accordingly. Make sure you have proper shoes, especially in the winter. And surprisingly, life and business doesn't stop even in snowstorms. We still show up to work, although these days more so virtually. And for the Montrealers in the room, rain in Barcelona and occasionally snow tends to slow things down, so people might be later than usual. Business hours in Montreal tend to be from 9 to 5, and in Barcelona they're from 9 to 1 or 2, and then to 6 or 7 in the afternoon, sometimes even 8. So a few facts about Montreal. I also put 2 flags on this presentation, the City of Montreal flag, and of course the Canadiens flag, which is our hockey team. You'll see, so the population of Canada is 38.5 million, and Montreal population is 1.8 million people, 34% of which are immigrants. And the greater Montreal region is 4.3 million people, which is about half of the population of Quebec. Why did I highlight the immigrant population? This can have effects, of course, if you're in the health tech sector, because they might not have the same background or needs. We're talking about a density of 890 inhabitants per kilometer, and Quebec's official language is French. We can see on the little map I've put here that Montreal is an island, and traditionally it's been divided into two. So east of St. Lawrence Boulevard is French and west is English. That's the island is the blue one. Things to know when you're in Montreal, when you're in Canada in general, prices displayed don't include taxes, so they don't include IVA. And within Quebec and Canada, because of the distances, it's quite expensive to travel. Another thing to highlight is that there's a labor shortage in pretty much all sectors. We're at full employment. And in Quebec, there's no minimum age to work, although parental consent is needed for children under 14 years old. Talking about health, so close to 20% of Quebecois do not have a family doctor. And in some Montreal neighborhoods, that can reach 36%. So again, we can see how health tech could help solve some of those issues. So Barcelona, I put the Barcelona flag and of course the Barça flag, which is very important. The population of Spain is 47.4 million people. And Barcelona's population is similar to Montreal, a bit smaller with 1.6 million people, 15% of which are immigrants. And Greater Barcelona, we're talking about 3.7 million people. So it's the second most populous city in the country. And similar to Quebec, the great proportions of 42.8% of the population lives in Greater Barcelona. When we look at density, 1,255 inhabitants per square kilometer, we see that it's much more dense than in Montreal. The official language, of course, is Catalan, which coexists alongside Spanish. In Barcelona and in Spain in general, there's less personal space. People stand closer to one another. Even in business, people kiss each other. So ils font la bise. So it's not just with friends like we do in Quebec. People greet each other in elevators and in shops, whereas we here in Quebec tend to look down when you walk into an elevator. Workers are more loyal and there's more availability of talent compared to Montreal. You must be 18 years old to work. And banks and governments are much more digitalized in Catalonia than they are in Quebec and in Canada. In Canada, the use of the fax machine is still quite prevalent, although it is the pandemic has helped transition that to a more digitalized economy. So when you first land in Montreal or Barcelona, when you get to Barcelona, you're gonna have a few options to get to your hotel. The taxi, which is more expensive than in Montreal with no fixed rate, or public transportation, you can go by train or metro. In Montreal, you can take a taxi, which has a fixed rate to downtown, or a bus, and soon there'll be a rail option with the REM, the rapid transit. You'll notice on the map that the public transportation network is much more extensive in Barcelona than it is in Montreal. The Sunday service on the train in Catalonia is pretty much our rush hour service here in Montreal. Again, we're hoping that will change once we have the REM in service. As for transportation in general, the distances are longer in Montreal and there tends to be more traffic, as well as more construction and subsequent road closures, especially during the summer months, where you'll see orange cones everywhere. So plan ahead and give yourself ample time to get to your meeting. Of course, we can't talk about Barcelona or Montreal without talking about languages. So Canada is an officially bilingual country with two official languages, French and English. In practice, however, business is conducted in French in Quebec and in English in the rest of Canada. In Quebec, don't assume someone speaks English, since 77% of the population speaks French as their mother tongue. However, in Montreal, 55% of people are bilingual, and so you should be able to conduct business in English. Montreal also has the highest percentage of Spanish speakers of all Canadian cities, mostly from Latin America. Note also that in the provinces of Quebec, there are very strict French language requirements for business. So if you are setting up, that is something you'll have to take into consideration. Bilingual Montrealers, like myself, have a tendency to switch to English when speaking to foreigners. So as for Barcelona, so Spanish is the official language in Spain, and there are regional official languages, including Catalan and Catalonia. Compared to Quebec, where not everyone is bilingual, pretty much everyone in Catalonia speaks Spanish and Catalan. And as for English, 45.8% understand it, and almost 34% also read and write it. And French, you've got 38% of people who understand it, and close to 14% who also read and write it. In the tech sector, of course, we can expect that the percentage of people who speak and write English is much higher. And just like in Montreal, Barcelonians switch to Spanish with ease when speaking to non-Catalans, and even English, as we've seen today in our presentations. Of course, I won't go through all the sectors here. I just wanted to highlight that we can see that Montreal and Barcelona share many of the similar sectors, including the green economy, ICT, and which includes health, of course, and sports tech. Tourism, one thing to note, which was mentioned a little bit earlier, is a very, very important sector in Barcelona, much more so than it is in Montreal. So I thought this graphic was interesting. Hofstede Insights presents country comparison as it relates to culture. And I won't go through everything individually, but what we see here is that Quebec really lies in between Canada and Spain with regards to culture. I didn't find any data on Catalonia, but if we did, we'd see that it would probably be in between Quebec and Spain. So really, we're much more similar than we are different between the two. So business mentality. In Montreal, business communication is direct, just like it is in Canada. There's no need for you to decipher and read into messages. Emails, phone calls, and presentations should also be direct and succinct. As I mentioned, so this is also the case in Montreal and Quebec in general. While we speak French, our way of doing business is more North American than it is French or European. Business communication in Spain is more formal, although during a first encounter, the Spanish tend to be outgoing and very friendly. And of course, the development of a personal and informal relationship is often necessary for the smooth running of business. Oral communication is preferred to written communication, and lunch or dinner invitations are ideal to establish a relationship. In Canada, it's very important to give if great importance is given to respecting everyone's opinion. There's less hierarchy. So regardless of rank and status, people expect the right to be heard and listened to. This contrasts to Spain, which is more vertical, wherein rank matters. This being said, with regards to management, managers do like to consult their subordinates to know their opinions and try to strive for consensus. That's very important in society. In Spain is a more collectivist society. Teamwork is more natural and confrontation is avoided. Whereas in Canada and in Montreal, it's a more individualistic society, and hiring and promotion are based on merit. Again, we see that in Canada, we tend to be more open to new ideas, innovative products, and willingness to try something new as it pertains to tech, business, or consumer products, or even food. And in Spain, it's more so, it's a great concern for changing, ambiguous, undefined situation. That's not a comfortable situation. Punctuality is highly valued in Canada. It's advised to arrive 5 or 10 minutes before the meeting and to send an agenda in advance. As well, if you think you're going to arrive late, it's best to call or send an email, even if it's for a few minutes, because it's considered a sign of disrespect. It's not the case in Spain. Spanish people are not known for being punctual. So you might have to wait a few minutes for your counterpart, but you are expected to be on time. You know, for the dress code here, I really wasn't sure what to say because officially, you know, we're more formal in Canada with business suits and dresses, although tech is more casual. But all that has seemed, you know, all that has changed since COVID, where we've all been wearing yoga pants and jogging pants for the past 2 years. And I expect that's going to continue to change as well. So certainly in the tech sector, it's not as formal as as the banking sector, for example. And in Catalonia, you know, Catalan Spaniards are conscious about dress code and will perceive your appearance as an indication of your professional status. You can plan meetings in Barcelona at the last minute. Business meetings in Canada tend to be more formal and planned in advance. Having small talk at the beginning of the meeting is common. And if you want a good intro when speaking to a Canadian or a Québécois, you can always talk about the weather. We're obsessed about it because it can vary greatly, you know, a 20-degree difference in a day. It was snowing 2 weeks ago here and it will be 30 degrees today. So you can always talk about the weather and that will break the ice when speaking to a Canadian. In Barcelona, small talk, of course, is common for talking business, but the agenda serves more as a guideline than a rigid timetable. And you might find yourself discussing several issues at the same time. When you're presenting in Barcelona, you should expect to be frequently interrupted when speaking, although the presentation should be thorough, detailed, and you should bring literature along to your company about your company. And negotiations are generally long. This contrasts to Montreal, where presentations should be short and you should use facts and figures during your business meetings. And also make sure that you give the person you're meeting time to explain what it is, you know, better understanding their needs. In Quebec, if you're thinking about setting up, your business cards should have English and French. Again, though, I've been to a couple of events since COVID, since we've opened up, and I found that a lot of people haven't had their business cards reprinted, and that we're directly using the QR code of LinkedIn. Business lunches are usually short in Montreal, about an hour, and they start at noon with lighter types of food and no alcohol, so often sandwich or salad. And you should be tipping minimum of 15% before taxes. This is the way I put it as far as lunches and culture. In the US, it's half an hour with a sandwich at your computer. In Toronto, it's half an hour sandwich outside. In Montreal, it's an hour. And in Spain, in Barcelona, it's a 2-hour lunch. So business can be conducted over meals, but Catalans do regard eating as a mainly sociable activity. Lunch usually starts at 2 p.m. and they often last 2 hours. And dinners rarely begin before 9 p.m. and they can last until midnight. So I always get less sleep when I go there. Obviously, I'm not going to go through all the national public holidays, but you can see that there are many more statutory holidays in Barcelona than there are in Quebec. So it's important to take note of that when conducting business and planning trips. Generally speaking, Quebec companies are open all year round, but I found that more and more companies are closing between December 25th and January 1st. And also here we have something called Vacances de la Construction, which is the last week in July and first week of August in Quebec, where many companies and many people tend to close, or at least a lot of people are on vacation. It started in the construction sector, but it has really expanded out to every sector. In Barcelona, businesses tend to close between December 25th and January 6th. Often August is off, and of course you also have Easter week, which is officially is only the Thursday to the Monday, but a lot of kids have off that week, so kids are out of school and parents take vacation. You have my contact information, and I'd be happy to share the presentation with you afterwards. And again, anybody who's interested in doing business in Montreal or in Barcelona, I'd be happy to speak to you afterwards. and tell you a little bit more about both cities.
Thank you very much, Ms. Abbott. Your information, I think that for some of them that they are hearing this is not new, but I guess for the people that is the first time that connecting to Canada and Quebec, I think is very, very useful. So let's now move on with the panel of the companies doing business in Montreal and Barcelona. I have the honor to introduce Mr. Hisham Shehabi. Hopefully my pronunciation is right. CEO of Next Sports. Mr. Hisham is focusing on developing relations with the Olympic movement and working with Olympic partners and clients on projects related to tech commercialization, future trends analysis, and innovation strategies. So please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Marin. I'm just trying to get my video to work. Okay, start my video here. Fantastic. Good afternoon to everyone and good morning to everyone calling us from the other side of the Atlantic. Nice to be with you today. As mentioned by Marin, I'm the Chief Operations Officer of Next Sports. And as a co-founder of the company, which started 4 years ago, I'm happy to say that we had chosen Barcelona as a base of operations for the company because we wanted to be accessible in the European sports market. Even though we were an American registered company initially, we decided that the sports tech industry in Europe was yet to mature, and so could use a lot of the learnings and experience that we had learned from the American market. So in the process of figuring out where we wanted to locate the company, and just a bit of a disclaimer, we do have two Catalans as co-founders, so some weight to their opinion as well here. But we landed on 3 cities really that spoke to us from a sports perspective. So it was London, Paris, and Barcelona. And we took a look at all of kind of what we thought were the pros and cons of each in terms of cost of living, weather, and how attractive the place could be for talent. The sports heritage, so the kind of sports organization, sports events, sports talent, sports business, and then the lifestyle and I would say the corporate environment. And so when we tallied all of these things together, we decided that Barcelona ticked more boxes. And so we set up operations in 2018 in Barcelona. And we now operate across Europe and increasingly in the Middle East. And I'll walk you through a few slides that we prepared for this session. So our mission really is to propel the sports industry forward. We see this happening mainly through the democratization of innovation and the increasing availability of exponential technologies on the market. And while these open up a lot of opportunities and has led to the growth of many sports tech startups, as Oriol from Indesca just mentioned a few moments ago, sports organizations specifically are not able to work with this new environment. They don't have, let's say, departments or individuals within them. So I'm talking about clubs, federations, associations, and leagues that do not have innovation managers or digital transformation managers or people who have relations with startups or with investors. And so because of all of the gap that was created in the market, we decided to create the company, which in a sense tries to leverage this new ecosystem that's emerging around sports. So whereas leagues, teams, and athletes have traction and endorsement money, they lack the technical knowledge. So their IT teams are just that, IT teams, but not really business technology teams. Tech companies are coming into sports quite a lot, especially now with the growth of the streaming wars. And so they have ideas, they have talent, they're new tech, but they want to showcase their technologies. And increasingly you see companies like Salesforce signing multi-million-dollar deals with sports organizations to showcase how good their CRMs are, for example, and how other industries can take a look at that. Sports and tech brands, on the other hand, have market access and knowledge. But because of their size, they lack speed and meaningful innovation. So we need to work with this new ecosystem. And then finally, you have a lot of private equity investors, but also high net worth individuals and different funds that have come into sports due to many reasons, but startups being one of them. And then now with the regulations around leagues and team ownership changing across both the US and Europe, you see a lot of institutional funds coming into sports. So together, all of these trends is the area that we focus on. So as a company, we are an end-to-end digital transformation sports agency. We advise sports organizations and we also operate on their behalf. So we don't just create strategic plans or audit and assessments for sports organizations, but once they are approved, we help these sports organizations to implement them. And really how we look at things is helping sports organizations to generate new value. Yeah, so a lot of the time, fan-facing or commercial and revenue topics are more top of mind when you think about sports tech. Whereas now with digitalization, there's a big opportunity with the reduction in costs actually. So football clubs rarely look at the bottom line, they look at the top line, and that's growth. But now there's an increasing focus on cost efficiency and controlling those costs across the European landscape. And that's where we see that digitalization can help. And that's where we guide our clients. Some of the clients we work with, again, mainly from Barcelona, but since COVID, we've become increasingly remote with strong hubs in Barcelona, but also in Valencia, actually. And we've been able to connect with and welcome a lot of these organizations at different events in Barcelona. One of the really cool things that we have leveraged over the years is the tech events that happen in the city, like Mobile World Congress. And 4 years from now, we have increasingly created a sports tech vertical, and we're trying to attract sports organizations. And there's always a smile on people's faces when you invite them to come to Barcelona, when they're in places like Switzerland or France or Italy, where most of our clients are from. Our services, again, they cover the end-to-end. So we come in to advise and create those strategic plans, but also then to implement them. And that's become an increasing kind of role that's needed in the market in sports, not to just hand over PDF documents, but actually to implement alongside clients. And this is where, again, Barcelona and Spain at large has a deep kind of market for tech talent. The growth of gaming companies, specifically both in Montreal and Barcelona, has led to increasing tech talent coming to the city. And so this tech talent is also available. And it is a quite competitive market, I must say, but increasingly you find all the needs from a tech perspective to implement all kinds of projects, which has proven very, very successful for us. Some of our clients that we worked with, EuroLeague Basketball, is actually headquartered in Barcelona. And we've been working with them for a few years on many different topics related to their club's digital transformation, related to the EuroLeague Final Four, which is their flagship event, and the league's digital and data operations so that they can improve their ticket sales, their sponsorship, and media rights. United World Wrestling is an Olympic federation. So there's Olympic Wrestling based out of Switzerland. We support them with their full digital transformation strategy, looking initially at the fan-facing digital ecosystem that's needed, such as mobile apps and ticketing and fantasy games, but then increasingly looking at the technology solutions needed for their national federations. So think of United World Wrestling as the FIFA of Olympic wrestling. And so they are looking at how can we reduce the cost burden to our national federations, how can we provide more value to our constituents, not only how to grow the top line. Yeah. So again, looking at that plus and minus is something that we're finding that the market really needs right now. UEFA is another client which we work with on numerous projects related to digital and innovation, working specifically with their UEFA Innovation Hub and the UEFA Grow program, which is kind of like the consultancy arm of UEFA. And we've been working with them for a few years. And in all cases, actually, aside from United World Wrestling, we've hosted them in Barcelona at offices. We prior to COVID had offices at WeWork, but now there's a lot of open spaces, co-working spaces, or corporate and open spaces combinations in the city where it's easy to host clients and prospects at. Another one that we've worked with is Paris 2024. So the Olympic Games is taking place there in 2 years, and there's been talks about Barcelona potentially bidding. So again, we're in touch with all of the Olympic stakeholders in Barcelona. There's quite a strong Olympic heritage thanks to Barcelona 1992. with the high performance center, with the, there's a few IOC members that are based there. A lot of venues that were built in 1992 helped to build the urban Barcelona that we know today. So the Olympic Games hold a special place in Barcelona's heart. And listen, I wanted to go through this very quickly. These are our contact details. What I would say is that between, again, the cities in Europe that provide a sports combination, a tech combination, and the lifestyle combination, I find Barcelona hard to beat myself, even though others are coming up. And as Oriol mentioned, there's a few other cities that are trying to become sports tech hub in themselves as well. And Barcelona, I believe one of the things that may be strengthened in the future is the availability of investment, like investment capital and funds that are directed to sports tech. So you find the other stakeholders there, but then I think directing the investment capital to these ventures and to others would attract even greater stakeholders from sports to the city. So I'd love to connect with any and all of you. Please feel free to reach out on my email or through LinkedIn, and do follow us on LinkedIn for all of our latest news. Thank you so much, Marin.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Hisham. So now we have the honor to introduce Dr. Daniel Gonzalez, CEO of the company Trifermet, based in Barcelona. Mr. Daniel Gonzalez holds a PhD in molecular biology and an executive MBA. Joining the importance business plays as a key role in the context of science. He has worked in several positions in Trifermet, applying his scientific and business expertise through coordinating clients and partners, as well as supporting them in designing successful business case. So, Dr. Daniel Gonzalez, please go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marin, and thank you to all the organizers for this amazing meeting. I enjoying a lot. I'm learning a lot from the different speakers, so I'm really pleased to join today's discussion. So let me share my screen. Can you see my screen now? Can you see my screen?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Excellent. So let me please share our experience in Quebec, first by introducing Trifermet. So actually Trifermet is a strategic partner. We are specialized in accelerating the development, accelerating the growth and the value of healthcare companies. We only focus on healthcare. Trifermet optimizes strategic development decisions, for example, increasing leverage, mitigates risk and reduces opportunity cost, enhancing the value of our clients in health. We are a company, a 20 years old company. We are based in Barcelona, and I would say that we basically we support clients in three different segments. First of all, we support developers, which is a very important segment in health, companies, R&D companies, also academia and universities and so on. We also support commercializers, companies that already have a portfolio of products, but they are looking for new opportunities, new technologies, new health solutions that can bring value to different patients. And also finally, we support also investors in finding good opportunities to invest in health and also the right moments to divest. Very briefly, I would say that our services include corporate strategy, inbounding and outbounding processes. I will explain a little bit more on that later on. Fundraising, and what in our opinion is very important in this segment is validating ideas in health. This is a risky sector with long journeys, so validating ideas before starting with that journey, in our opinion, is a key element in the sector, right? So let me also share with you something that is in our DNA at Trifermet. Many times we discuss with clients and they have a question mark. No, can we set up that activity by ourselves? alone. In our DNA, we always try to convince people that if, especially in health, if you want to go fast, go alone. But really, if you want to go far, you should go together. You should be able to find the right partners, to set up the right alliances in order to really reach your goals and to have a positive outcome. So let's keep it simple. And I would like also to review the way in which TriFMED have been supporting companies based in Quebec, companies based in Spain, because we understand that in Quebec, in Canada, and in Catalonia and Spain in general, there are huge opportunities. There are great technologies in both places, in both markets, and it's also important to put and to set up alliances between both markets. So just to keep simple, in our expertise, or based on our expertise, we can split the business development in two different main projects, what we call inbound partnerships, in which our clients in this case are looking for innovation, new solutions, digital, healthcare, diagnostic solutions, therapeutical solutions. And we need to find those opportunities abroad. And also, on the other hand, what we call outbounding processes, in which our clients bring their technologies to the world. In this case, for example, I would like to share with you some examples between Quebec and Catalonia. Coming back to the outbounding processes, here you can see some examples of companies that we have been supporting for the last years. Companies based in Quebec. Prevtech Microbia is a small startup company that was set up from the Montréal University, I would say 10 years ago. We supported this company for many years in reaching different goals, different milestones, and also we supported them when they were acquired by Elanco, a huge multinational company. We also supported Altus Group, Medisca, Pharma Science. You have here some different examples in which those companies had great technologies, and we support them by finding the right alliances, the right partners, in order to turn their technologies into a commercial success in different territories. For example, in Spain. In this case, by understanding the business model of all those technologies, all those companies, we should be able to highlight activities and different gaps that those companies were not able to lead. For example, manufacturing, for example, regulatory assessment, co-developments, commercialization, any kind of activity in which you are not strong. We have been there to support those companies in finding not a partner, not only a partner, but also the right partner. And I would also like to share with you some ideas on that later on. And many different possibilities to set up alliances, many different kind of partnerships. Out licensing, distribution, co-development is also a matter of discussing the best model to collaborate in order to turn the technology into a commercial success in different markets, right? Excellent. You have here also some examples of some press releases in which those companies were acquired in some cases or reached an agreement with different partners. Regarding the inbounding partnerships, in which, if you remember, we were talking about companies that already have a portfolio of product, but are companies that are interested in acquiring new technology and providing the final patients with new technologies that those patients deserve. So some examples here: Value Pharma, Duchenne, Pendopharm, Servier Canada, and also Teva Canada, companies that are based in Quebec, and in which we were looking for scouting worldwide in order to find great technologies and in order to support the discussions with the owners of those technologies, some of them based in Spain, but also in many other territories worldwide. And we support all the process to orchestrate the partnership and the collaboration between both parts. Different models here in the inbounding processes, co-developments, in licensing, distribution agreements, acquisitions, and many other ways to collaborate. The idea here is to find the right collaborations in order to bring technology, bring innovation, in this case, to Quebec. Also here, press, you can check it, is a press release in which we supported Value Pharma in order to commercialize, to set up an agreement with Sambon, an Italian company, and in order to commercialize a new solution for the treatment of the Parkinson disease in Canada. So let me just very briefly explain how we normally organize all those projects, how we normally organize the partnerships in both inbounding and outbounding. First, we think it's very important to set up an initial phase, internal phase of analysis and planning to develop a business model in which we think, that's an hypothesis, but we organize all the key elements, key activities, the value proposition in order to define the best partners. We need to identify all those activities that will be needed in Canada, in Spain, or in Germany, in any specific territory, those activities that will be key. And from that, we will be able to set up a market research to identify the right potential partners that could bring that technology to the market and or that can bring technology to the client, and we need to identify and select the best ones. So once we have all that information in place, we move to the next step, because it's not only a matter of analyzing and planning, it's also a matter of validating ideas. And the best way for us to validate those ideas is to connect with those companies and to put the technologies in hands of those companies, or ask about the technologies they are developing or commercializing, and ask about how they will be handling a potential agreement with our clients. Those are real players with real needs in real markets. So those companies are the best targets to have information, to get learnings, and to know how to handle with potential collaborations. The idea, and we normally organize our projects with that sense, we set up a competitive process. We put all the companies that we think that might be a potential partner in place. We communicate in parallel, and the idea is to select the best ones to have hopefully a final agreement with the best potential partners. So that opens the door to the last phase, in which, if everything goes well, we select those companies that are the most interesting ones, in which we need to define and orchestrate a potential agreement that, as you know, that also is most of the time very complex phase. So in the case of, let me also share, before explaining a little bit more about our team, that we also in the last year, StriveMed has also led different projects in digital health. We have been, or we are still supporting companies in digital health. We think this is a very active field in health by using the same strategy. Digital health, at the end of the day, provides new innovation, new solutions for doctors, for patients, for the systems in general. And we are currently supporting companies that are trying to bring their technologies, digital therapeutics, digital diagnostics, to many different countries. And we also see good opportunities both in Quebec and here in Barcelona, which, by the way, we have already seen a presentation before from Pascal, in which we understood also quite how active is the ecosystem, digital ecosystem here in Barcelona. So we have, just to summarize about StriveMed, almost 20 years of experience in the field. We are agnostic. We have experience dealing with digital health, medtech, pharma, biotech. Any kind of solutions in health are very welcome at StriveMed, and skilled people, talented people, different nationalities, and we are really happy to support companies in finding the right partnerships and to set up the right alliances worldwide. So thank you very much for your attention. I really, if you have any question, you can reach out to me here at dgonzalez@trifemer.com. Really happy to answer any question or any comment you might have.
Thank you very much for sharing your experience in Montreal, Canada, Mr. Daniel. So now we will give back the word to Camille so he can introduce the companies from Montreal.
So, thank you very much, Oriol. I have the honor to introduce Mr. Marcel Milan Iglesias, Business Manager Europe of CA Healthcare. Briefly, CA Healthcare is a company that delivers educational tools that help healthcare professionals provide safe, high-quality patient care through a wide spectrum of simulation solutions, interventional and imaging simulation, audiovisual solutions, and learning applications. So, Mr. Iglesias, you now have the floor.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon to everyone. I will share briefly here a quick presentation, just 1 second. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Camille, for the introduction. My name is Marcel Iglesias. I'm responsible for the European markets for CA Healthcare. I moved to Spain last year. I was based in Latin America. I was initially responsible for the Latin America market, and now I'm managing both regions, but based from Spain. I will make a quick introduction of CAE here. I will start with this video, which can give you an overview of the company as a global company. Can you see the video?
If you want, we can share it on our side.
Can you see it?
No, we don't see it. Maybe my colleague Alexia has it handy, so she'll be able to share it with the sound.
Yeah. Hello. So let's try to go back to the PowerPoint. Share a screen here and here. Can you see the PowerPoint?
Not yet.
No. Here. Now?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, perfect. So I passed this video because this can give you a great overview what is CAE. CAE, our headquarters is based in Montreal, and we've been in the market for the past 75 years. We just completed 75 years developing technologies in different segments to support the training of professionals in areas of risk. So we started our business mainly in the aviation sector, developing the flight simulators for the commercial and military. And today we have basically three pillars. We have the commercial aviation, where our main objective is to making air travel safer. So we train most of all the pilots that are around the globe. We also have the military, which is the defense and security arm, which we also develop technology to support the training of most of the forces. And the third one where I'm responsible for is the healthcare, which the main objective is to making healthcare safer. So we developed softwares and also simulators to train healthcare professionals and students of medicine and nursing all around the globe. So as you can see here, there is a synergy between the areas where are areas of risks, right? So we really try to with the technology, develop all the curriculum and also the solutions to prepare better the professionals to execute their functions, reducing all the risks around. Here's a little bit about the story. As I said, we have 75 years in the market. We are present and we are considered like a leader in the technology sector in most of the sectors that we work with. And going to the healthcare division, the healthcare division, it's a division that started in 2009 with some acquisitions of companies that were in the market already with high technology involved. And since then, we started to develop more and more technologies based on what we had in aviation and bringing this to our simulators. So today we have a complete family of simulators that can be considered like patient simulators. We have ultrasound and surgical simulators, and also now because of all the digital transformation we had in the past 2 years, we are also having different solutions on the virtual environment. So we developed solutions with AR technologies. We have softwares that can be used to train professionals in the virtual environment. We are working a lot to integrate the data between all the solutions and all the curriculums and all the institutions. So our objective is really to follow the learning journey and optimize all the educational process with the data that we are capturing on this. So there is some interesting facts here that today flying is 22 times safer than drive a car, and this is mainly because of the preparation of the professionals and the technology that follows all the airplanes and the educational process that we have. Okay. In the healthcare side, is still one of the main causes of death is related to the medical errors, right? So you can imagine it's like this is equivalent to 4 jumbo jets crashing every single day. So the main objective with our technology is really, and solution is really to improve the patient safety and making the healthcare safer. So today, our main solutions that are used for this, we have ultrasound simulators, we have interventional simulators, we have patient simulators, which is basically the family So we can count with pediatrics, we can count with babies and adults. So all the families, so you can practice like birthing procedures. So we really try to be present in most of the areas of the healthcare professionals, really improving the way they can practice their daily activities and also hard situations without any risk for the patient. And next one. As I was saying, like one of the procedures that we really try to make in our company is really to integrate all the educational journeys. So we support the curriculum integration, we support the training of the educators and the professors. We make sure that they can count with the proper technologies based on their needs. We repeat this until they can have all the process implemented. So CAE, it's a solution provider company. We are present basically in most of the countries with local offices and also partners. Those are the markets that we are acting and we provide solutions for. And especially in Barcelona, where we have some reference hospitals that count with our solution, and we've been seeing a lot of improvement in this sector, the educational area, the universities in general, and also the hospitals. They have been implementing more and more such technology. They have been investing a lot in the education of their professionals, not only the doctors, but also the professors in general. And I really see that it's a technology hub in the region because of this investment. We see that not only they're looking for the international solutions, but they are also developing local solutions. So it's very important for us to be close to those customers and try to develop a new technology in collaboration. Okay. So this is a summary, basically what we do in the hospitals, in the schools, and the support function. So we really try to, and we really develop solutions to make continuing improvements. We make all the assessments of the performance, and then we make sure that our support team can collect all this data, and with the technology, we can make this as a cycle, making this as a recurrent activities, really improving all the process behind that. And basically is that it's a quick overview of the company and what we do and what we've been doing in Barcelona. Actually, it was a few weeks ago, there was a inauguration of a simulation center inside the hospital of Valdebrón, which is a fantastic place, and they count with a great team, and they count with a lot of interesting technology solutions that they invested in. They are also developing very interesting solutions by themselves. So you can really see this exchange of intelligence behind a technology company and also a hospital that is investing a lot on that. So this could be a great case study that we can mention here.
So thank you very much, Marcel, for your presentation. So we're supposed to have another company from Montreal, but unfortunately they could not attend the event today. So this is why we are at the end of our webinar. As mentioned previously, we'll make the video recording available on our website and our YouTube channels in the next day. So if you have any questions, we can address them in the optional Q&A session that you have in your PearConnect's agenda. I'll also put the Zoom link in the chat so you can find it easily. There will be also a small 5-minute presentation of the PearConnect platform at the beginning, so you can understand the potential of connecting with today's participants. So I'd like to thank everyone for your time today, and on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce of Montreal, I'd like to thank you for joining us today. So let me now pass the final word to my co-host today, Marina Riol.
Well, so thank you, Camille. I would like to thank you everyone that joined us today, and hope this will be the first step of a great economical interaction between Montreal and Barcelona, between Quebec and Catalonia, of these highly strategic sectors. So we hope to talk to you in the optional and questions and answers section, and to see you soon doing business between Montreal and Barcelona. So just remind you that this platform will be open for business for the next 2 months. So all the people that has been registered, so will be possible to interconnect to each other. So I think this is a fantastic opportunity, if not today, when you have time to connect to the different companies that has been participate. So again, this is our first experience with Montreal Chamber of Commerce. That was very nice, and hopefully will be not the last one. And maybe in the future we can think about other kind of interactions and another kind of business exchange that will bring more opportunities to all of you. So thank you very much to all the people that has been involved. It has been a very hard work for all of us, and hope that you have enjoyed and you will take opportunity of this event. So thank you very much. Have a nice morning in Montreal, and bona tarda aquí a Barcelona.